Hi, everybody. Well, you got to see my glasses. One of the challenges of age is as I get a little bit older, my eyes get a little tired, more tired late in the afternoon. So bear with me. I don't know how they look on your end, but they certainly make it a little easier to read things on my end. Uh, hey, back in the Chicagoland area, back in the cooler weather. Got indoctrinated last night as I arrived with snow plowing or snow blowing my driveway. So back to what Chicago life is all about. So I want to take a couple minutes this evening, just talking a little bit about the work you've probably already begun and things you're already starting to do in Module 3. So first, but before I do that, I want to just suggest and let you folks know I'm really, really pleased with the work that most of you did on the self-awareness reflection and the work you did on discussions really in Module 2 as well. Really some great stuff, some great dialogue and feedback and thoughts around how important and why self-awareness is so important to you as a leader, and how much you've learned and how much more you're becoming self-aware yourselves in this class in order to enhance your leadership so you understand how others see you. So with this week in Module 3, we're transitioning into the important element of leadership and the ability as a leader to engage others. And under that topic, we're going to talk about a couple of key things. One is, how do you build strong relationships with your followership, the people you're wanting and desiring to inspire to follow you and to make that choice. So we're talking about how you work at building those relationships as a leader. Secondarily, we're going to talk about one of the challenging things as you work through building and establishing relationships is being self-aware and aware of what might be some of your filters, or in this case, as we call them, unconscious biases that you may have. How do you recognize them yourself? And more importantly then, what do you do, not just yourself, but as a team and leading your teams to avoid the possibility of unconscious or cultural biases that may happen that are unintended, but how you can find a way to help your team see through that and work towards getting the kind of diversity of thought and idea and contribution of your teams and members of your teams in the diversity area, diversity of thought and everything that you'd like to have. Next, we're going to talk about at length some thoughts about, I'm going to share with you some thoughts about leadership from a followership perspective. As I've said all the way along so far, leadership is really, followers make a choice to decide whether they're going to follow you. This is not something you can mandate to them. Just because their name is on an org chart that says that they report to you doesn't necessarily mean they choose you as their leader, meaning really make the choice to follow you, really, and respect you, not just as their manager, but as their leader. So in that sense, we're going to talk about, again, looking at, as you're working towards building these relationships with your followership, what are the things that followers are looking for, and how do those resonate with you, and how do you recognize those, and what do you do to build those? And then back on this relationship front, we're going to come back and talk about one of the articles. There'll be a lot of great, I think, discussion we'll have around the article called Connect Then Lead that Amy Cuddy and others contributed to, that I think is a very interesting discussion around the element of building relationships and what people, as you're entering in relationships or meeting new people, new leaders in the business, how do we as humans begin to assess what we're looking for in that leader, that new person that we'll be working with, and anticipate and hope to be led by? What are we looking for from a followership perspective, and the attributes from them, and how, and what comes first in that, and as we search for those attributes that resonate with us as followers as well, from the standpoint of warmth versus competence, as Amy Cuddy and others in the article kind of relate to. So we'll be coming back and talking about that. But first things first, what I want to do is we get more of this dialogue and discussion going this week. I want to talk about, there are a couple of authors that have written and done some research in the area of leadership from a followership perspective for well over 30 years. Last names are Posner and Kausas. You'll find it when I open it up shortly and give you access to some of the slide deck. But there's a couple of books that they've written and a lot of research they've done around this concept. And again, importantly, looking at leadership from a followership perspective to understand more about what followers are looking for from their leaders and what leaders can learn from that. So as we start there in that conversation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be emailing to all of you replicating a very simple element of some of the research they did. Over this 30 years, they've collected a group of attributes, a number of different attributes that often come up as some of the most important elements or attributes that people see in their leaders and find important in their leaders as followers. But there are some of those attributes which followers tend to and are very consistent upon seeing as very important elements and attributes that they're looking for from their leaders. So I'm going to send you a broad list of these attributes that Posner and Kausas have used in this research over 30 years. And then what I'd like you to do is just give me your top 7. Rank them 1 through 7. What's the most important in that top 7 down to again, all of these 7 being all very important to you, but what are your top 7? And rank them if you as well, if you would. And then what I'll do is aggregate that data together from all of you in the class and compare that data and what you've shared with me to the Posner and Kausas results in research that they've done over 30 years. I think you're going to find that to be very interesting in the process of, again, looking at what you're looking for, what attributes you're looking for in a leader, and oftentimes how much similarity there is in what we're looking for, but important to recognize those attributes and understand yourself as a leader how to connect to those. So for this first step, let's start there. Like I said, I'll be emailing you shortly today in just a few minutes that the gross list of those attributes, and I'd like you again to email me back your top 7. I look forward to receiving those. I'll aggregate that data back quickly and get that back to all of you, and we'll share some thoughts about. I'll come back in another video and share with you some thoughts about how that data compared to the Posner and Kausas research. Hey, enjoy this week. A huge part of leadership is about your ability to engage others. We'll spend more on some team building and specific team-related matters in later sessions and during this term, but this module this week is much about how you as a leader can engage your people in a way that makes them and that really encourage them and motivates them to want to follow you and make that choice to follow you. So look forward to talking with you more about that as the module and week goes on. Talk to you later.